not that I need to ask you, but Keith, does The Running Man hold up?
Oh, it completely holds up. I was really afraid because it's a dumb action movie. I know what it is, but I just liked it so much but I wasn't sure. It's like, do I just like it because, I snuck in to see a rated R movie in the movie theater, or did I like it because it really was a good movie? And I think it was a really good movie. And I think especially movies that could be about the future, that they can go really badly. And I felt like just in general, it's like, it was for 2017, but they really, most movies are completely off. And I felt like this one wasn't too far off. So anyway.
Yeah, no, it's just funny because it's like, this is the future. Oregon Trail on your TV. It's the InfoNet.
What does a better job than Total Recall? I mean, that's...
I'm so sorry. That's wrong. But, okay, let's continue.
Oh, all right.
So you think it held up, and you were excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I knew that you were excited about it.
Why?
Because you said you were excited about it like 4 times within like the first, like... Not even before the song started. Well, the song started. I'm so excited.
I was geeking out at the 90s DVD menu.
Yes.
So, yes,
that's true. You were. Yeah.
I was a goner. I was 13 all over again.
So. And so then the theme song started and you like lost your mind. And I was like, oh my God.
I got in the song.
So glad I have champagne in my hand right now.
So this is always interesting to figure out. So how would you describe, Cory? How would you describe The Running Man? So.
Okay. Well, you're lucky that I I teach literature at times because I recognize right away that this is dystopian fiction.
Yes,
and that in the distant future of 2017, and if it's dystopian, then the government controls everything, and life is not so great for poor people, and it's wonderful for rich people. But there's only a handful of people who get to do what they want, and the government controls the narrative. And so there is I don't know if he's an MP or just a police officer or military. I don't know what he is, but his name's Ben Richards, not Richardson, Richards, right? Yeah. Ben Richards. And he is in a helicopter with all of his little buddies, and he gets orders to fire on unarmed civilians. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And so immediately, because is that a police state? Oh, yeah. So because it's a police state, and it's dystopian, everybody in the helicopter turns on him, and then he, that's not okay. And so then the government and the media twist it to make it look like he actually killed all those people that he didn't want to kill.
Total totalitarian state move. Yes.
Total totalitarian. Yes.
Yes.
Which is just like 1984, which I won't go into because...
Except better because it's a movie I like, but yeah.
Wow. I haven't seen 1984, the movie. I've only read the book. But anyway... So, what happens is he goes to prison work camp, and it's like a year or so later because he has a beard.
Very gulag totalitarian. Go on.
Also 1984. And so he meets up with these guys. I don't know their names. I called them Glasses, and I thought the other guy was from Boston Legal, but he's actually from Homicide: Life on the Street. So Glasses, and... Glasses and Homicide: Life on the Street and him, they go ahead and, set up this ruse, and they escape from the prison camp because Glasses is a computer expert, and so he takes down the perimeter, which will come into play later. So they escape, and they go out into the real world, and they meet Fleetwood Mac and Dweezil Zappa.
I think one of my favorite parts of that is that, so the guy from Fleetwood Mac is... some sort of makeup's going on. Can't quite tell.
Yeah, we couldn't tell. I couldn't tell if he was like real, if he was old, or if he was like makeup, like they make up old.
I think
him.
half and half. I do like that. Right after we meet him, they all decide that they can go their own way. I think that was hilarious.
Did you look that up?
I'm telling you, I was like, they did that song, didn't they?
And then I was such a dad joke. Oh my gosh.
Nice.
So speaking of dad jokes, we'll get to it. But so he meets up with those guys. They decide they're going to go their own way. Go your own way. Go your own way. Thank you. So Glasses and not Boston Legal are going to go join the resistance.
Yes.
And Mr. Ben Richards is like, no thanks, I don't do politics. So what happens is he goes his own way. God. He's looking for his brother, who's going to help him get out. But then he meets a woman who is living in his brother's old apartment. Her name is Amber. She works for the government, and she likes to exercise in negligee and pantyhose, which I found weird and gross and strange.
Yeah, I did find it also a little disturbing what Arnold was wearing in that scene. Like, I've just got to say, as a man,
oh, the floaty white boxers.
Then I'm excited that floaty white boxers.
With a peephole.
And thankfully there was no peeping at any point. But having been at 24-hour fitness off and on for the past 20 years, I've never seen a lingerie workout girl in pantyhose.
However, we have seen a guy in tight jeans and pointy dress shoes.
Yeah, kicking barbells.
And making noises.
And talking. So we
left.
Yeah, we skipped arm day that day.
And that's why I don't like to go to the gym.
Yeah.
One of the reasons. But anyway, so she's working out in her house.
Yep.
And he realizes, she's got a travel pass. Which I don't know if that's like a passport or I don't know what that is. So, because she works for the government. So he decides, okay, well, I'm going to blackmail you and use your travel pass to get out of here. Which I don't understand because they get to the airport and, they only have one travel pass and somehow he makes it past, the guy who's checking the passes because he's acting like, this woman's a pain in the ass, which was great.
Yeah, I felt that was, it's a standard, like, hey, hey, I'm a white guy, I can go where I want, so let me just, and I thought a lot of the future they got relatively right,
I'm sorry, not to interrupt you.
Yeah, go for it.
But I did want to say that, yes, because they got, like, Alexa. And the other thing that I thought was funny is that the internet is called the Infonet, but it looks like the Oregon Trail, and it's attached to your television.
Yeah, and strangely, no one dies from dysentery in this movie. I was a little disappointed with that when I saw the Oregon Trail.
And there was no wagons.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she actually rats him out at the airport, and so he takes off running, and they catch him with a net, which I thought was strange, but they catch him.
You would think that in real life you'd run diagonally, but he had to get caught for the movie. So
right,
anyway, yeah.
But they caught him with a net.
Yeah.
So anyway, they catch him, and then we meet. His name is very, very beat you over the head. His name's Damon Killian, which I think is like Damien, the most blatant name in the. It's like, I wonder what you're about, Damon Killian. And he runs a show called The Running Man, and he's played by Mr. Richard Dawson, the guy who French kisses old ladies on Family Feud.
And I just got to say, that was one of the things that was a total mark-out moment for me, is when I was describing it, I don't know why I didn't mention it. Like, Richard Dawson is like such a wonderful key part of this movie to me. He's like, he's I don't know how much, kind of like Arnold, I don't know how much acting he was doing. It was kind of like, but it was fun again to see his game show persona, like, just turned up to 11. So I really got the sense watching him, like, he's like, oh yeah, I know this character,
Yeah, all I could just really, like, if I'm remembering, it was just pinkies up all the time and just like old man open mouth, and
everyone's darling, and everything is just
gross, gross. So what happens is he wants Ben Richards on his next episode of his show, and Ben Richards doesn't want to do that. He's like, screw you, I'm not doing it. So then he says, okay, well, you know what? Your friend Glasses and your friend Not Boston Legal are going to go in your place if you don't do it. So he agrees to do it. Guys, have you heard about Anchor? It's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free, which is a big plus because I don't know about you, but I don't have any extra money laying around. They have tools that you can use to record or edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. I haven't used the phone one, but I have used the computer, and it's super easy once you get the hang of it. Also, Anchor does all the hard work. It distributes your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and so many more. And you can make money from your podcast. No minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. He ends up going on the show. And so then the twist is that, well, first of all, the show has these solid gold dancers with front G-strings and back G-strings. And they're just dancing their hearts away.
There's nothing but a G thing all over the place whenever the...
Oh my God. We're going to do dad jokes today.
Oh, it's an Arnold movie. Okay. He gets me in the mood to do dad jokes.
So, which we saw at the end, at the credits, that Paula Abdul did the choreo for this movie. And I thought it was interesting that there's this, like, you know, deadly, like, murderer, and these women, these solid gold fly girl dancers are just, like, you know, doing 1980s twerking, and they're, like, all over him, which I thought was weird.
Hey, 2 steps forward and 2 steps back,
so,
you know,
all right.
Opposites attract, so, you know.
So anyway, so he gets there, they strap him into the little cage car thing that's going to send him through the tunnel, and they go, guess what? We got glasses in, not Boston legal. They're going to go with you anyways. And then Ben Richards says to Killian, I'll be back. And what does Killian say back to him?
He says, only in the reruns, or only in a rerun. Because he's a cold hard snake, just so you kind of establish.
Stop. But I just wanted to say, I'll be back. I was like, oh, okay, I wonder which one was first. And I looked it up, and Terminator was first. So that was a little shout out to Terminator.
Well, if I may, we have this really weird hallway scene. Because Amber, like, she walks by him, and, like, her best friend is with her, because she works at the station. And when they see him, she's like, oh my gosh, that guy could rape you and kill you, or kill you then rape you. And that's what makes Amber say, you know what? He didn't rape me violently.
Or kill me.
He might be actually a good guy.
Yeah, so she kind of starts to have like a turn. So then they get shot into the game. And I guess how the game works is, and this was interesting to me because like everybody who's watching the game, again, it's dystopian. It's dystopian, so we have to like rally up the common folk and whatever, right? But like Super Bowl level excitement and like cheering and fans and like watch parties and like, and it was funny because it was like a 3-hour show, and I feel like it happens every day. So like this happens all the time.
We weren't sure, yeah.
And we've got a big screen and the common people's like work camp, so everybody's watching it.
Yeah, it's very very event television. Like so they make a point that it's live, which will come into play later on.
Yeah.
So
well, and also they have a wrap-up show afterwards, and I'm just like, oh my God, how long is this show? So anyway, they are in.
We don't watch the Super Bowl normally, so Cory has a whole new world of sports that she doesn't.
I just like to eat. That's all I do.
Okay.
At the Super Bowl. But anyway, and the commercials are good. But
so what do you...
Puppy Bowl actually is a better... Anyway.
What do you think the rules are of the game were? What is the
Well,
setup?
so they get shot into, like, I guess a bad part of town. And so there's, like, weird quadrants. And then they have these guys called stalkers are sent in to kill the people that are in there. And so what ends up happening is, however, that... Mr. Ben Richards and his not Boston legal and, well, not glasses. Glasses get stuck. But he keeps killing these stalkers that have been on the show for years and years and years. And this has never happened before. And he's like killing all of the stalkers. And so as they're doing all of this, Glasses like somehow notices, oh, you know what? I bet we could basically hijack the uplink, the network uplink, so we can use the resistance can take over the signal.
So what do you think they have to do to win? What's the game part of it? So they get shot into
the guys who like won last season. I mean, if they've never killed the stalkers before, I guess they've just like were able to stay alive to the end. I guess.
Yeah, I didn't gather that. I just gathered that not that a stalker had never been killed before, but that it was just super rare.
Yeah.
And so if they survive, they get sent to Hawaii.
But Ben Richards turns it on his head, and he kills the guys that are coming for him. And so then the crowd is starting to turn into Ben fans, and that is not okay with the government. And then another thing that happens is, as you were saying, Amber, Amber, since she has access, she works for the government/network. She is in the archives of the footage, and they just have everything recorded.
Which, not on a hard drive, but very alphabetical. Very, very, very
right
well
away.
maintained.
Right away, she just flips right to it. It's Ben, Butcher, Ben, Bakersfield, Butcher, Ben, Bakersfield, which is the incident that happened. And she sees that actually, the unedited footage is that he didn't do all of that.
The movie is not subtle. It's here's the footage, and here's the unedited footage.
So then she gets, of course, caught. And so then Mr. Richard Dawson, since, Ben keeps killing the stalkers, he's like, oh, well, we'll just send her in there. So they send her on in there. It ends up right where they were. They've been in the game for at least a half an hour because they've killed people already.
Yeah,
and she just shows up there with them.
Yeah, it's kind of like whenever you watch a sci-fi movie and someone's on a spaceship and they just happen to land right where they're supposed to, on the whole planet.
On the whole planet.
To find the one person. So.
Yeah. So she immediately finds them, and then they kind of, she gets split up, so she goes off with Glasses while Ben and Not Boston Legal are trying to kill the stalker people. Mm-hmm. And Glasses realizes, oh, we're in the area where the password is, and so he's working out the password, and he's oh, you need to remember these numbers. And I immediately had a panic attack because I can't remember numbers, and I hate poker, and I just, I can't.
We have a great poker story.
Yeah, one of our first dates was, he didn't know I was having a panic attack inside my head because I was pretending I was having fun playing poker.
And I just happened to start helping her. I was like, oh, she's letting me help her.
No, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I hate this. So anyway, I'm not dumb. I just have a problem with math and numbers.
Right. You're very smart.
I'm really good at reading, though. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so spoiler alert, Glasses doesn't make it.
Mm-hmm. Well, he is a skinny, smart character wearing glasses in the movie. So in the 80s, his fate was pretty much sealed.
Yeah.
So.
He was in the mainframe. So he doesn't make it. And then also, skipping ahead a little bit, Not Boston Legal doesn't make it either. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, oh, avenge us. And they're like, okay. So Amber and Mr. Ben Richards are together running through, killing more stalkers and doing one-liners that are dad jokes. Mm-hmm. And then finally, by the way, I wanted to say, so the guy who's the producer from Wayne's World, Wayne's World guy, exact same character, looks exactly the same. I don't think he's ever changed. Mm-hmm. So what happens is they lose Amber and Ben in the game because the Resistance has kind of snagged them and put them in an area. And so they lost him, but they can't let the world know that that's what happened. So what they do is they do some sort of camera trickery to make everybody think that they actually take out a Mr. Jesse Ventura he plays Mr. Captain America, who is a retired stalker. He comes in, he gets sent in to kill the stunt doubles. And so the rest of the world thinks that Amber and Ben are dead, and Amber and Ben join up back with Mr. Fleetwood Mac and Dweezil Zappa. They hack into the network uplink, and they play their own video, and it's the real footage, right? Because Amber's like, oh, guess what I have? I have the real footage, but they've been, she's been strip searched probably and dressed, and so I was like, where was she hiding that?
It's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, so it's kind of left to the not very creative imagination.
Yeah. Well, it was funny.
2 or 3 spots she would have put
I was so busy writing down where did she have that, and I missed that Arnold actually asked her the same question.
It's an Arnold movie. I'm just glad we didn't have to watch him retrieve it. So
out of his nose.
That was probably
gross.
Yeah.
So anyway, they clear out the television studio because they've just shown the truth to everybody. And I was wondering, now, when did they have time to edit this footage together and make this little package?
Video production can be very quick. You go to weddings and you go, by the time you go from the ceremony to the reception. So a lot of it I think was just kind of the dystopian idea
of a wedding
of
videographer.
Of hey, everything's being taped at all times. So but I do hate that when a movie is oh, hey, let me have the
because it was all the same footage from the movie at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, that happens, and then he ends up facing off again with Mr. Damian Killian, and doesn't end up so good for Damian Killian. Sends him down through the tunnel. goes headfirst into a billboard of himself, and I don't know why he bursts into flames, but he bursts into flames.
Because it's the 80s, that's why. We need to have as many explosions, logical or not.
Yes.
Possible.
So basically that's the movie, and of course Amber and Mr. Ben Richards, I guess, fall in love because they kiss or whatever. I don't know if they fall in love, but they kiss. And
but were there things you liked about the movie?
Yeah, well, so okay, it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, as you keep saying, and you know, I find him entertaining, so it was fine. It's not my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Total Recall is still my favorite, I think. Yeah. And so, but, you know, it was all right. And did you know, by the way, that you can actually spell check Schwarzenegger?
I think when he moved to this country, they tried to force him to change his name.
Yeah.
And he refused. He steadfastly refused. And he told his agent, everyone will be able to spell my name.
Well,
and I'm sorry,
it's
Arnold,
on spell check.
Arnold, we can't.
But anyway, the one-liners, they're ridiculous. I found the script online, and I went through it, and I wrote down all the one-liners. So we can do that later.
How many hours did that take?
Not too long. I really did love the actress who played Amber. I thought she was great. And I liked a little, like, the relationship between, how playful it was between them. Like, when they were at the airport, and he was like, I'm going to throw up on you if you don't. And he was like, go ahead. No one will notice with this horrible shirt I'm wearing, because he was like wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, as long as the woman has power, then that type of playful banter is okay.
Yeah, and she definitely was like a match for him.
Yeah, and I think some guys like misread that, like, oh, I don't mean anything. It's like, yeah, you're like 4 times her size, so you got to make it.
But I did kind of like, he was just like, he kept throwing her around, you know, like they were brother and sister, and that wasn't too cool, you know. And then he acted like she was such a pain in the ass. And then even after they decide that they're going to like each other and they kiss, like, he grabs her neck as they're walking out, like he's arrested her. And I was just kind of like,
he's an alpha male. That's kind of it. Yeah, that's...
I'm going to admit something, and I hope that you don't make me never live it down, is that the theme song is a little catchy.
Yeah. Da-na-na.
Okay.
Da-na-na.
I loved the solid gold Fly Girl dancers. I loved them.
It was weird how that worked, actually. Like, it shouldn't work.
It was so weird.
But I think part of it probably does have to do with the choreography of it.
Yeah,
like,
well, because it was so Paula Abdul after. Like, I was like, I recognize this, and that's why. I will say my absolute favorite part of the entire movie was when Amber got shot into the game, and her hair is just like all over the place and in her face. She immediately ties her hair in a knot, which is exactly what I do all the time. And what like whenever I have to do something, what do?
Yeah,
I take the
right up in the bun.
Scrunchie off my arm, and sometimes I just tie my hair up. Sometimes I just take a pen and stick a pen in it, like whatever I can to get it off my neck. So
there was a good amount of self-awareness I felt in this movie. Richard Dawson being a TV guy, and like Jim Brown. So like, you know, Jesse the Body Ventura,
that was not
playing
his hair.
Captain Freedom. No, that wasn't.
A terrible wig.
It was not. But him being Captain Freedom. Jim Brown, who I know goes over most people's head. The Fireball is like,
with the skunk hair.
One of the best NFL running backs of all time. Who was a civil rights guy. It was kind of like, in some ways, self-aware, but there was no winking at the camera, which is what I enjoy. Like, if you're going to wink at the camera, you just say it and keep going. The jokes they were making, they just kept playing it straight. And so if you know, and you can laugh. And if you don't know, then it still works within the story.
So, yeah, that was the things I liked. You want to hear what I didn't like?
Yeah, sure.
Like I said,
Everything.
I didn't like Richard Dawson's old man open mouth all the time.
Dawson had this really charismatic, but I'm also a guy, so I never had to worry about him trying to French me. But like anybody...
I would stay far away from him.
Yeah, anybody who would want to grab someone by the whatever, Richard Dawson is their role model. Because he had this kind of like... over
polyester.
Huckster, I can talk, and hey, what's going on? We're all having fun here.
Pinky
I'm
rings.
in control.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so he was creepy. I mean, I don't really like him in Family Feud either. So he's just creepy, and I would stay very far away from him.
I get it.
I really didn't understand why the Running Man suits they were like quilted on one side.
A lot of pads today.
They have
for like elbow
the
and knee
diamonds.
pads. Well, you've seen like for my pro wrestling, like some of my pads have like those hexes on them, and so I always thought it was that. It was like padding.
It looked like a bedspread quilt.
That's true, but which is not what any of
So
my
I was
stuff
like,
looks like.
yeah.
But I was like, okay, that's just padding that isn't very heavy.
Yeah. And then I already mentioned, like, how they kind of treat Amber as she's like a corporate lady, right? So
But she works out.
she does work out in pantyhose. But anybody who was like that, like, they're going to be completely out of their element in that game. Why are we acting like she's such a pain in the ass?
I also liked how what happens often in these movies is like, oh, by the way, I'm a badass now. Like, I have zero training.
Yeah.
And like, and she does have a quote unquote kill, but it's like just a like kind of stroke of luck. You can kind of see that happening. And that's one of the other things just from a story perspective that I like. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger is, by today's standards in that movie, isn't like super buff, but back then he was.
I was actually looking at his buffness and like, because I know that he was Mr. Universe, and he, like, in Hercules in New York, he's just like ridiculously like,
yeah, so he's
built up, and so he was just kind of, he looked normal to me.
Yeah, I like
movie.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely was big, but I mean, so he's definitely big, but I like how, like, okay, he's a military guy.
Yeah.
And so we've established that, okay, maybe would be a good fighter and super strong.
Question about that, though. I heard that Arnold Schwarzenegger is actually, like, short.
He's shorter than he appeared. When he did Conan, there's a popular picture of, like, him with, like, Andre on one side and someone else on the other, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or something, and it's just like he is tiny.
Yeah. Well, but those guys are really super tall. So now I do have some questions. I don't understand. There was like several scenes where like they were betting, and I don't understand how, like, gambling I don't get, poker, I just said all that, but like they just had a crowd of people shoving bills at them. How do they keep track of that?
I think they just wanted to have a scene with betting because people are always betting on these things, according to
So they just wanted to show general betting.
Yeah, general betting and excitement. So.
Well, I just didn't. I was just like, again having a panic attack. So I noticed that they kept giving the studio audience the home game, the Running Man home game,
which I laughed every single time.
I just don't understand, like, how would you play that at home?
I think it would probably be like some sort of chutes and ladders. I would imagine would probably be.
Oh, because there's a chute.
Yeah,
and there are ladders.
And there'd be ladders. So I think.
And you just light the game board on fire.
I think so. I would probably, if I was making that game, I would make it like one person is, a couple people are the running men, and then a couple people are the stalker. And, but before, like, everything used to have a board game. Like everything would have a board game.
Don't get me wrong. I like my Jeopardy, I like my Trivial Pursuit, but like every time our 6-year-old wants to play a board game with me, I'm just like, oh my god, I don't want to. Yeah. Anyway, that's how I love her, because I do it. And then just like my one note was like, does this show ever end? It seems like it goes on forever, and it's every day, and everybody's so excited about it. Even when there's like carnage, they're just like, yeah.
Well, I cannot believe you spent the time to find all the one-liners. Do you have a favorite?
I did.
Do you have a favorite one-liner from?
Yeah, I think my favorite one. Gosh, it's a tie. So when Fireball is one of the assassins that shows up, and he comes in a ball of fire, right? And then when he goes to blow him up, he's like, "How about a light?" And then he blows him up, and he's like, "What a hothead!"
Yeah, my favorite is the very. And I like it. I like those one-liners when they're like in response to what someone else is saying, rather than just like, he had to split. So my favorite is like when at the very end, when he confronts Killian, and Killian says, "Drop dead," and he just looks at him and says, I don't do requests. And then, I think that was my favorite of all.
Well, and then it made me wonder, like, because a lot of action movies are like this, where they have the lame dad joke one-liners. And we should look into it and see, like, was this the first one? Is this, like, the most blatant one?
Definitely didn't start it, but I think that's definitely.
Is this, like, the worst offender? Because it's it felt, when we were watching it, it felt like every 2 minutes there was one. So I was actually really shocked when I went back and read the entire script. I perused it, and I only have like a half a page.
Yeah, no, it's. I feel like it's pretty standard, for pretty standard action. Yeah, it's like, there's something in it. I mean, because James Bond would do it all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of the action trope. Got it. So what What would you say? So we always start off with like one of us double thumbs up, the other one double thumbs down. So how would you rank this movie?
I don't think that I would on purpose watch it again. If there was nothing else on, I was stuck on a plane or something, I might watch it and take a nap while I watched it. Maybe.
And emphasis on nap, I would imagine. So are you like?
And I think I'm gonna have to go with thumbs in the middle. Two thumbs in the middle.
That honestly,
I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's fine.
Okay, so yeah, honestly, I thought that was actually a little better than I thought. I thought we were gonna stay with one thumbs down and one thumb in the middle. I thought was
I think I'm gonna be fair because I did once I got into it. It was like, oh, okay, I'm watching this. Like which when I was younger and my dad would bring home like Black Rain or Casino or like whatever, and like I would
Tango and Cash.
I liked Tango and Cash,
Yeah,
but like we would sit down and we'd be like, okay, we'll watch this movie, and or Red Heat or whatever. That's another one.
Gosh.
And I'd be like, okay, it's a movie though. I get to watch a movie, so let's watch it. And then I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is cool. I like it.
Nice.
So it was, yeah. But that was because I was getting to watch a movie. So